What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. What on earth is going on today? I'm seeing Mateta penalty. I'm trying to watch the game. The sun is shining on the TV, so I can't see it properly. So you lot can update me on that. Last minute penalty to equalize for France in the final. Let's see what happens there. Zaha, things are progressing. They are progressing. We'll be discussing that. Guehi, John Textor. There's a lot today. There's a lot today, from ownership to players coming, players leaving. As always, get involved in the chat. If you do enjoy the content, like, subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. Thanks to every single one of you that does this week in, week out. And before we do get started, as you can see from the pinned comment, we do have a giveaway. Hopefully, we'll be having many more as the upcoming season starts. It's a way of us giving back to you. We've partnered up with Avi, Palace's partners, sponsors, and we are giving away 2 tickets for the game on Sunday. All you have to do is follow the instructions on the X page. The link is posted. Click on that link, follow the instructions, and you could be of a chance of winning free tickets to the friendly. And also make sure to follow Back of the Nest on X, because we'll be having more giveaways, as I mentioned, for the upcoming season. It's all good times, all good times. Hopefully, I've got more to announce on the way as well. But that's a little bit of a glimpse in terms of what we could be doing on a channel next season. So yeah, I mean, 4 tickets, exactly as Mikey's saying there. 4. Yeah, 4 tickets to give away. So I'm pretty sure if you go over there, retweet, and get involved, you could be over a chance of winning one of those 4 tickets. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. It is beautiful over in London today. The sun is shining. Can't see any clouds. It's just good vibes, good news. I'm excited. Hopefully, we might be having T on as well. I'm not too sure where he is, but I thought we'll start off anyways with the show, because I know a lot of you have been waiting. And yeah, I mean, let's start off with the main topic. As always, make sure to go and check out the pinned comment. Don't forget, the draw ends tomorrow at around 12 p.m. UK time. So make sure to get involved before that, even if you're watching it on replay. Gents and ladies, let's get started with Wilfried Zaha, who we spoke about yesterday with a potential loan move back to Palace. And today, it is heating up. And I know some people have mentioned in the chat that Fabrizio Romano has deleted his tweet. I'll be honest, I was not even going to go to Fabrizio's tweet about this. I was going to go to a source that I find more credible, that's over in Turkey, that's got over 1 million followers, and that is Yavuz Sabancıoğlu, who is a very, very good source over in Turkey, especially for Galatasaray, and he has said the following. So, it's coming from over in Turkey, Galatasaray sources, of course, that Zaha has reached an agreement with Crystal Palace. The player is waiting for the clubs to complete the deal. Wilfried Zaha, ladies and gentlemen, today is not even on the bench for Galatasaray in their season opener, I believe it is for them. So he is not involved out of the matchday squad. The news over in Turkey is that an agreement with Crystal Palace has been reached. It is now about the 2 clubs, Galatasaray and Palace, finding a deal, which, if you ask me, I'm not as worried. I think a deal will be found, especially if he's left out of the squad. It's all looking positive in that aspect. So it looks like Will, funny enough, might be our next signing. And Ed Aarons has also said the following, which I'll read out. He said that Galatasaray are believed to be demanding around £9 million to sell Wilfried Zaha. That's where things get a bit interesting, because we've been talking about loan yesterday, but around £9 million, there's conflicting reports about this, about whether it's a loan move or whether it's permanent. Yesterday, we heard that, we spoke about it, and we spoke about it with the source that's mentioned it, that it could be around £9 million for it to be a loan move. However, Ed Aarons has said that it could be £9 million for permanent deal, which for me is a no-brainer. I do think it might be a loan agreement for now. But you know what? Yesterday, get involved in the chat as well, people. I'll read through your comments. Don't worry. I know some of you wouldn't want this to happen for your own reasons. And yesterday, I was conflicted. I said, head over heart. There's 2 sides of me. There's side that says, where would he fit in? Do we want to pay that kind of money for a player on loan for a season? But I'll be honest. I'm going to be brutally honest. After that news has come out today that an agreement with Crystal Palace has been reached, the side of me talking about finances and also where he would fit in or not, it's gone away. I've loved this guy to bits when he was at Palace. He has single-handedly saved us over the years. I understand you can think as a fan, you can think business-wise as well. But Palace do have money to spend. So for me, Wilfried Zaha, who's versatile in two different positions, up front and can play, of course, down the left-hand side as a backup option as well. If he is fine with the role that he's going to be having at Palace, bring him home. Bring him home. I have no problems with the finances involved. We have got money to spend, so let's spend it. There's no way on earth, if we're going to talk about another player, Jeffrey Schlupp. Let's say if Schlupp left or Ayew left, and we have Zaha instead of Jeffrey Schlupp, and we're complaining about that. No, it is fine. It is fine. Even if it's a loan me for 1 year, I've loved this guy to bits, and he suits Glasner's system, by the way. I know there's been some talks about whether he fits or not, but we are a more attacking side under Glasner, and we know that Will flourishes in a more of an attacking side rather than defensive side, even though he can still carry size and regardless of the manager, and we've seen that in the past. So for me, it is Wilfried Zaha that we're talking about. We're talking about a player that is the third most ranked in appearances. Yes, you can talk about nostalgia. You could be saying that, oh, look, the time is done with Will. Let's just move on. But this is Zaha. This is the one last go. We couldn't even say proper goodbye to him last time around. I was very upset with the fact that he joined Galatasaray, not because he left Crystal Palace, but because of my personal reasons and what my views are on Galatasaray. And I'm happy to bring him home. If he's happy coming off the bench, or you never know, by the way, we're talking that Wilf is a scrub. He's not a scrub. There were a lot of us that wanted Wilf to stay, and he did decide to go against that and leave us. But a lot of us did want him to stay, and there was a reason for that. Yes, age is not as young as he was before. Yes, we can all agree on that. And maybe wages and this and that. But, I mean, Palace are not going to do something that they're not happy with. It's not like we're being held with a gun on our head saying, you have to sign Zaha. If you don't, we're going to shoot. No. This is what the club want. If the club want this and the finances are fine, which it should be fine, because as I've said numerous times, with Guehi potentially leaving as well, even if Guehi wasn't to leave, with the Elise leaving, we still have money to spend, then why not as a depth option? Why not bring in Zaha? He is Mr. Crystal Palace. He saved us single-handedly a lot over the years. Why not one more run where we're looking up the table and we know the strengths and also the negatives of Wilf as well? We do know the strengths and the weakness of Wilf. What are the damages of a loan move to us if he's happy with the role that we're giving him? Which an agreement has been reached, according to reports over in Turkey, with Zaha. I'm for it, people, man. I'm for it. I'm not even fussed about money like that. Even the money involved. What if it was £9 million? £9 million for us when we have got money to spend. It's not crazy amounts. It's not crazy amounts. And if Glasner thinks that he can fit in the system, and we know that what Wilf can bring to the football club, why not? Why wouldn't we want Wilf in a more of an attacking role than we've done in the past? I don't understand I mean, some people, I think everyone has a right to say, I think there is the other side of the story in terms of people not wanting him, but people going over the top negative saying, why Zaha? Let's just take a step back. He's not that bad to say, why Zaha? We're not signing. I don't know even the comparisons. I think we're forgetting what Wilf is as well. France, we're talking about France. So look, that's a very good point to make as well. What does this mean for France? It doesn't necessarily mean that France is not going to be getting opportunities. As I mentioned, we've been talking about here as well in terms of Glasner improving plays and us needing a forward. Wilf could easily play as a forward under Glasner. He could rotate between Mateta, Edouard, and it can be Wilf. If he's happy with that, and we're talking about a manager that's got the best out of the players, if he's happy with that, we know that he could potentially play up there in this system because of how attacking it is. So there is opportunities for Wilf to play a lot, around the front three. He doesn't have to play just down the left or just up front. So for that reason alone, he's got that versatility. I don't think it is that bad. I mean, let's see what people are talking about as well. And get involved in the chat. There's a lot of comments. But for me, I'll be honest, yesterday I was thinking more of like, oh, let's be level-headed. But today I'm just thinking like, when I saw that news, of Wilfried Zaha coming back to Crystal Palace. That excitement in me came back. That memories of Wilf has come back. Yes, you might say it's a risky move. Let's end on a good note, but I don't think it's a risky move if it's a loan deal, even if it's not a loan deal, if it's a permanent deal as well. He's an experienced player. As much as we want to sign 20-year-olds and 23-year-olds all around, it's good to have that experience. And if he brings that experience, which the likes of France can learn from, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst thing in the world. It is Wilfried Zaha. I think I've needed a reality check as well. It is Zaha that we're talking about. And we're talking about him coming not as a starter and moving Eze off the pitch. We're talking about him being an option. Imagine Zaha. It depends on who else plays. But, these players being an option coming off the bench. Whereas last season, we're talking about Ayew and Schlupp coming off the bench. That is an improvement. No one can deny that is not an improvement. Now, are there younger options that we've even spoke about on this channel that we've been linked with? Yes, there are younger options, but there's been reservation for various different reasons, and there's no point rushing into a deal if the club feel like it's not right, as much as we can agree on it. So yeah, I'm not against it. I'm really not against it, and let's see what happens. Let me scroll up because there's been a lot of comments. I'll read out as much as I can do. Of course, there is a lot. As always, if you do enjoy the stream, hit the like button, subscribe, people, and get involved in a giveaway. As you can see from the pinned comment, you have up until 12 p.m. tomorrow. Let's start off with this. Cheesy saying, even if Wilf is a little redundant, he would be a better striker replacement than Ayew and Edouard. Can only help. And that's my point. Last season, we're talking about Schlupp coming off the bench, Ayew coming off the bench, and now we're going to be talking about Sarr and Zaha coming off the bench. That is an improvement. I'm sorry, that is an improvement. And Schlupp has been rumored away from the football club that we're going to be talking about as well. David saying, I hope Glasner is approving the Zaha thing. If not, no, I'm pretty sure Glasner will have a say. I don't think Dougie Friedman is going to go and say, I don't care what you think, Glasner, we're signing Zaha. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think with every transfer, of course, Dougie is known for doing his thing. But I mean, we have backed Glasner. There is no signs of us not listening to Glasner. LaCroix, I mean, he's been mentioned today as Glasner's preference. We've signed Kamada, of course, that has been Glasner's player in the past. We're working together. I mean, Dougie Friedman will have his players and Glasner will have his players. But, of course, we have to come in an agreement. We won't sign Zaha for the sake of signing him. Of course, Glasner has to say yes. So if Glasner says yes, I'm fine with this. If he has a conversation with Zaha, look, this is how I want to use you. And if Zaha's happy with that, then what is the problem? I don't really see the problem. These conversations will naturally be held. It's not like, oh, we're putting a bid. It's not like we're blind dating. We're just assuming that, oh, we're going to put in a bid. Zaha's going to come to the football club and no conversations have been had with Zaha. And Glasner's going to say, look, Zaha, you're not playing. I don't like you. No, these conversations will be held behind the scenes. So I don't have any worry about that. Bring Wilf home, says Cody. Zaha working under Glasner could work. Well, exactly. He's a manager that's improved a lot of plays in a short span of time. And how I see it working is maybe Glasner could get the best out of Wilf up front, potentially. So, yeah. Wilf needs to be reasonable with his wages, though. Look, I mean, yes, he has to be reasonable with his wages, but we've got money to spend. The club are not going to be doing a deal which is not going to benefit the club. So I'm not as concerned. That's what I'm saying about the finances, people. I'm not as concerned. I'm genuinely not as concerned. Mukhtar saying why? Fair enough. He doesn't want him. Jeremy saying if it's a permanent for the alleged £9 million fee, it's a no-brainer. We are at a new spot where we are very smart about things. Exactly, that's my thinking as well. He knows he won't come back and be the main guy. A solid role guy. Exactly. I think Wilf is not dumb as well. And I think, we saw it even when he did leave. We had Eze, Elise. He's seen the younger players come up the ranks and he's seen we've become less reliant on him. But if you're talking about Wilf being a role player at Crystal Palace, I'm sorry. Maybe it's the fan of me, but I don't understand how that's a bad thing when considering the options that we had last season. I just don't. I think Sarr, younger than Ayew, more pace than Ayew, and Zaha. Let's not even. I think it's rude to even compare Zaha to Jeffrey Schlupp. With all due respect, I think there are improvements there, and we've spoke about all along. We're trying to improve the depth, and if Zaha fits into that, then there's no major problems for me. Mukhtar saying we'll end up hating Wilf. He can only do it at Palace because we give him the ball, but won't be the case now. I don't think that is the only reason. Let me see if there's another update. So apparently, according to Mr. Dom Smith, just a quick update on this. Crystal Palace will have to match Wilfried Zaha's Galatasaray wages of around £170,000 per week for a loan deal to be agreed. All parties are keen, but it's now down to the finances. So let's see. It is a lot in wages. But if it is a loan move and maybe Galatasaray can come over some of it, or maybe Palace just feel like they've got enough money to spend on Wilf. Engin saying, I love Wilf, but £9 million on a 31-year-old seems excessive. Zaha is selfish and got a bad attitude. No thanks to Zaha again. I'm surprised. About. I mean, I get some of the comments, but geez, like this is Zaha. Looney saying Wilf will work in the squad only as a depth option. And if he does play, he could be a number 9. And even then, the guy doesn't press. So I find it hard to understand how he'll fit into the system. He does press, though. Well, why doesn't Wilf press? Since when Wilf doesn't press? Wilf does press. He played under Vieira's system, where it was a heavy pressing system. And he was fine with that. In fact, he enjoyed it in his first season. So I don't agree with Wilf not pressing. James, okay, we read that as well. Actually, I don't think I've read that. Okay, hopefully, if he does come back, I truly hope he has matured and left the bad side of his attitude with his previous club. Palace have shifted to playing team ball under Glasner, and he would know that. He would know his role at Palace before joining. So yeah. By the way, send in your questions. I'll pin them and I'll answer them towards the end of the show. There is a lot to go through, by the way. In terms of news, there's more as well. And Spain have scored apparently. So let's see if this is the worst thing. Us just throwing money away. I don't think it's the worst thing. But fair enough. Zaha, the boomerang employee for Palace. Get him in, says Hilzo. Kevin saying we'll make all my Palace shirts as relevant again. Bloom's slang saying, as much as I love Wilf, if this happens, it feels like we're just moving backwards. Do we go for Balas and Jeddah next? We should be looking forward. I don't agree with moving backwards. I don't. In fact, it's not about agreeing. I don't understand them comments about us moving backwards by bringing Wilf back. What is backwards about having Zaha as a role player coming off the bench? I don't personally understand those comments. You might say, oh, we might not be moving forward, and that would be a fair point. But to say we're moving backwards to bring Zaha to the football club and have him as an option coming off the bench over Jeffrey Schlupp, either shows one thing, either shows that Jeffrey Schlupp is higher rated than Wilfried Zaha, or I genuinely don't even, actually, I've got this second point. I just don't understand us being backwards. If we were to sell Jeffrey Schlupp and have Wilfried Zaha as an option off the bench, are we saying that that is a backward step in terms of improving the squad? If we're saying that, then I must see a different Jeffrey Schlupp or different Zaha to how some people may see Zaha, because I don't understand how that is backwards to me. Twist is saying we offered £200,000 a week before he left. His wages now 100,000. Great signing. Welcome home. Nope. It's 140 a week. I mean, figures will be around that price anyways, 170, 140, 100. So I guess we won't really know exactly how much he is. Do you think Wilf regrets leaving us after seeing us cook under Glasner? As I said, and I got slated for this as well, I didn't want him to move to Galatasaray. I didn't want him to. Of course, as I'm Turkish, a lot of you know, I know about Turkish football. I know about Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, etc. And I had my personal reasons. But another reason that I did have is he was moving to Galatasaray with the hope of Champions League football, European football. But when I brought out the receipts and I spoke about Galatasaray only playing 4 games of Champions League football, and that's what they've been known for numerous of years now, not being able to make out the knockout stages, people were still saying, oh, why be negative? Oh, he's moved on. I was the one that was very negative about Wilf moving on from Palace in the first place, and I'm saying bringing him back now. So I don't think he regrets leaving us. I think he still went there and got his opportunity to play that European football, explore. And I think he really enjoyed living in Istanbul as well. So he's got that experience. But I think now, let's say this. I think if Hodgson was still at the football club, I don't know if Zaha is so keen of coming back to Palace. But I think under Glasner, he's kind of seen the vision as well. He's seen the vision. He's seen the football. And I think that football does suit Wilf the most as well, because we know that with his abilities, he needs to be in a side just attacking rather than just defending. So No, I don't think it's regrets. I think, as I've listed, for various different reasons. I think, yeah, it's looking better for him to come to Palace now than it was before. Twist is saying our squad is becoming to look scary. Love it. Exactly. Look, this is how I see it. Zaha coming off the bench ahead of IU. Zaha coming off the bench ahead of Schlupp. That's improvements to me. That's improvements to me. £9 million for bench player. Where do we spend the money for then? Where do we spend the money? I mean, £9 million is not like it's £90 million. It's £9 million. And if you're looking at squad depth improvements, £9 million is not bad at all for a bench player. I think that is exactly what you want. I mean, how much are we expecting to spend for bench players? Like 5, 4? I mean, if we're being realistic, that's nothing in today's market. Galatasaray is my second team, bruv. I watch week in, week out. He don't press, take it from me. He doesn't have the same energy levels he had from years back. Fair enough. Thank you for the super chat, Bubbles, saying best CPFC fantasy guys. Mateta 7.5, Eze 7. That's a very good question. I'll say this: there's a good chance that if Mateta's scoring, Eze's assistant, but Eze might be assisting other players as well. Let's see what Kamada does. So me, maybe Eze, but get involved in the chat, people. And thank you for the super chat once again as well. If you're enjoying the stream, people, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well. You seriously think Kamada is better than Zaha? Zaha and Kamada will play two different positions anyways. Zaha's competition will be down the left with Eze, unless Glasner wants to play him down the right-hand side, which I don't really see it happening, but it could be. So I don't know who said Kamada's better than Zaha or Zaha's better than Kamada. I don't know what subject is going on there. Alex saying, do you think this is us readying Eze to go? I don't think this is the case at all. So yeah. Is it £9 million and £170,000 a week for Zaha on loan? If so, leave. If it's 9 million or 170k a week, then go for it. Will be a useful squad player. Will he want to be a squad player? Well, if he doesn't want to be a squad player, Mikey, he's not reaching agreement with Palace to come back to the club anyways. I think, as I said, we must have had those conversations with Wilf, so I think he knows his role at the squad, and maybe that's what put off a few other players potentially from joining Palace, because I don't think we can guarantee any player starter. I don't think we can guarantee that right now with the squad that we have. I mean, even if we was to sign, for example, Nusa, or some of these other players that's been linked with Kamada and Eze still being there, I don't think anyone is guaranteed to be a starter. And by the way, we do need squad players. So for me, the figures on the wages and stuff, it doesn't concern me. We need players for depth options. As Twisted said, and by the way, we don't even know if it's £170,000 a week. That sounds like a lot, even for a club like Galatasaray. That sounds like a lot over in Turkey. I doubt it's that much, but that's what Mr. Dom Smith has reported anyways, and he is from the Evening Standard, pretty reliable source as well. But let's see. But yeah, why are we feeling so sad for Kamada? Nothing's happened with Kamada. Nothing's happened with Kamada. Do you think people hold grudges against what Will said in a podcast not too long ago? In fact, I didn't like what he said as well. I kind of get what you're trying to say, but I didn't like the fact that he said it about, as I said, paraphrasing, but he doesn't want to be known for the Wilfried Zaha of just Crystal Palace, etc. But yeah, this obviously shows no ambition. Fair enough. But I mean, let's see, people. Let's see. He's out of the squad for Galatasaray today, and I mean, it is looking more likely as well. So I just hope I don't want it to be a case of when he does join, I don't want it to be a case of just being toxic towards Wilf. I don't want that to happen. If someone wants to be upset, I was the one that was upset before, even when he left, and I could still hold grudges right now in terms of why did he leave us? Why did he delay it that summer? Why did he not make a decision earlier? We thought, he was going to stay. He left us pretty late on to pre-season. He could have left a bit earlier on in the window. There's so many grudges to hold, but this guy's done a lot for us as well. He has done a lot for us, and we've done a lot for him as well. Even right now, bringing him back to the club. But he always gives 100%. He's always given 100%. And in his shoes, to be fair, he could have left us ages ago. And without Wilfried Zaha, right now, I don't know if we're talking about an upcoming Premier League season, because there's been numerous times where he's saved us. But the system is very important for him. And look how he was, by the way. Look how he was, and his attitude that he had in Vieira's first season at the football club. of course, we've seen Vieira now is managerless. He doesn't have a job again. He's been sacked again. Well, mutual agreement, anyways. So there's question marks there over Vieira as a manager. But in his first season, look how happy he was. Why was he happy? The reason why he was happy was because of the system and the attacking approach. That's what he likes to see. He said it in the post-match interview as well. He liked the fact that we were attacking. So when it comes down to it, that's what he wants. He wants to be in an attacking system. And what we're doing right now, that's what Glasner has. So I think all around, I think he will suit him. Thank you for the super chat from James, saying, I'll stay positive and believe that it is not the team going backwards, but Zaha leaping forward. I think that's the positive attitude we need to have. I don't think there's any benefit of us being negative if he was to join us. So, yeah, I mean, let's just see what happens. But thank you so much for the super chat, James, and to every single one of you that's been getting involved as well. If you do enjoy the stream, please hit the like button. And if you do want your comments read out earlier, super chats help with that as well in terms of priority. But we'll go through all the questions and comments as well. People, I wouldn't say this, but Trey saying people who don't want Zaha back are deluded. I wouldn't say that's the case. The £100 bet, Elisa will also return within 2 years. Nah, that's not happening. Twisted. But I'm not doing that bet with you, but that's not happening anyways. You can do it with someone else. No, Wilf. Jack saying, I know it's been 2 weeks, but in the podcast, they said it's happy in Turkey, so I'm confused to what's changed. Yeah, let's see. Hazard played, and we're going to move on from Wilf because there's genuinely other important news to go through as well. Surprisingly, it's been half an hour. We're still on the Zaha topic because there's been a lot of questions that's been coming through. Hazard played well at Galatasaray. I'm slightly worried he will expect to walk straight back into the first team and potentially throw his toys out of the pram if he doesn't get that. Not sure. He hasn't really had that many opportunities. He seems like he's fell out with the manager. But as I've said numerous times, I don't think he joins us without speaking to Glasner, without speaking to Palace about his role. So if he's happy with what Glasner's telling him about his role, and if he still wants to come to us, then that is fine. That is fine with me. So with that would be my reply. Now, let's move on to the following topic, and that is on Marc Guehi, people. Another bid has been rejected by Crystal Palace, according to the Daily Mail, of around £50 million from Newcastle. There's a hope a deal can be struck as Oliver Glasner's side hold out for a minimum of £65 million for the defender. So, I mean, 45 was the first bid, I believe, 50 the second. Newcastle playing the long game. They could play the long game all they want. We're not selling them for less than £65 million, and that's where we stand. And I think Newcastle will eventually have to pay out for that. But also another thing to add about Guehi, this is from The Athletic, is that talks are being led by co-owner Steve Parish and Newcastle sporting director Paul Mitchell for the signature of Guehi. Negotiation described as being as productive, despite the fact an agreement is yet to be struck. I think an agreement will be found eventually. Of course, Newcastle are not going to come. They're going to try to play the long game. They're not going to come and give the £65 million as demanded. 45 is a bit ridiculous. They've upped it with 50. They'll go 55, 60, 65. We'll eventually land there. But for our sake, and I'm pretty sure Steve Parish will relay this message over to Newcastle, we need this deal done sooner rather than later. If he was leaving, I think there was a TikTok that was posted with Guehi after the opening training session. The fan asked a question about whether he's staying or not, and he just shrugged his shoulders, saying he doesn't know. I think he's going. Let's get this done sooner rather than later. But another bid has been rejected of around £50 million. Good to keep Guehi at £50 million offer. Engin saying, I'd be pissed if he goes for less than £65 million, or does he stay? I don't think he goes for less than 65. I think Palace are pretty persistent in terms of their offer. Maybe he drops down to 60, but yeah, I think the agreement will be found between Newcastle and Palace. So let's see what actually happens with that. Mitch saying that we get 65, probably close to 60. Spiritual saying Kamada is better than Zaha if it helps you sleep better at night. Animal. People are debating Zaha versus Kamada. People, it's meant to be a positive news. I don't know why we're so like everyone just lashing out against each other, talking about Zaha's better than this, Kamada. But we need squad players. As I've said all along, we're not used to this because we haven't entered this territory. That's why we've had the likes of, I'm not going to mention Schlupp because I think Hills gets upset because of how he's been playing preseason. But that's why we've had players that have not been as of, decent quality to push us forward coming off the bench. And now we're changing that. So it's not about player A is better than player B. It's about having players in the squad that can step up and do the job. And Saar, for example, on his day, could be a very good player. Zaha, we know what he can do as well. So I don't think it's just, oh, he has to be better than Kamada or this and that. So yeah, Saar is better than Zaha. I don't know about that, Chief. I I don't know about that, Mukhtar. I'll be honest. I don't know about that. Maybe right now, I don't. Maybe just talking about right now. Maybe you can have that debate, but I don't know. I love that the club is holding firm on Guehi's valuation. It's the right thing to do. So yeah, let's see. Where is this bidding war for Mark? Everyone said would happen. It seems like it's just Newcastle in the race, which is kind of surprising. I thought maybe another big club would be after him, but for us, he can go Liverpool. He can go to Narnia for all I care about. He can go wherever he wants to go. As long as we get our money, he could end up leaving the club. That's all I want. For me, it's a money thing that's the most important. With Elise, that wasn't the case because of how persistent Chelsea fans were and United fans of, oh, Elisa won't reject us, etc. When that was the case, it was a bit more like, no, I'd rather Elisa go somewhere else, which he wasn't going to go to Chelsea anyways. But with Guehi, just give us some money. But yeah, let's see what happens with that. Now let's move on to ownership. John Textor, who has been reportedly wanting out of Crystal Palace. News has come out today about Textor and about our other owners, Harris and David Blitzer. So let's start off with Textor. According to The Athletic, John Textor's shares are most likely to be bought by a current shareholder or a group of them. Palace's owners are happy with the situation right now at the football club. But let's read the other sources and what they've said, because there's very conflicting reports coming out over this. This next one's from Ed Aaron, saying that Crystal Palace co-owner John Textor has made a new bid to buy Everton. So apparently, according to Ed Aaron's, he's back in the Everton race. He needs to sell his Palace shares first, but is keen to make a profit on his investment. So, listen to this carefully. As I mentioned, the Athletic are saying that the shares are most likely to be bought by a current shareholder. Ed Aarons is saying that this rules out Josh Harris and David Blitzer, who offered Textor the amount he paid for his shares. So, Textor is wanting a profit on the shares. Harris and Blitzer, according to Ed Aarons, are only willing to pay how much Textor paid for his current shares. So, apparently, this rules out both of them too, which is conflicting, of course, from what I've mentioned from The Athletic. And Kieran Maguire, who's got a podcast, who's a finance expert, he's actually, he had a tweet, a question, and someone said Blitzer and Harris buying his shares would be the best outcome, in my opinion. And to make things even weirder, this was his reply to that, saying that they are looking for an exit too. Now, people, where do we start? Where do I start with this? The first report saying that if his shares were sold, it was most likely to be to internally within Palace. Then Ed Aarons basically shuts that down, saying that Harris and Blitzer are only willing to pay how much Textor wants. Textor paid initially rather than how much Textor wants. He wants to make a profit on his investment, so apparently that rules them out. And then now we're hearing that that Harris and Blitzer potentially want out as well. So it is very, very confusing. Textor, I think, will be leaving the football club. I think that's being set in stone. The question is now, if it ain't Harris and Blitzer, so if the Athletic report wasn't as, it's not even they said that Harris and Blitzer wants their shares. I'll read out again. The Athletic did say that they are most likely to be bought by current shareholder. So most likely, not saying they are going to be bought. They didn't say that, most likely. But if Textor is not willing to go and match what Blitzer and Harris are willing to pay for his shares, and he gets sold externally, what does this mean for Harris and Blitzer? Because from the Athletics report, they seem happy with how it is right now. And we've known about this golden share nonsense that we've been talking about, etc. It is a bit complicated now. It is a bit complicated. And if this report is true about Harris and Blitzer potentially wanting out of the football club, could we see, and someone actually said this, I can't remember who, but someone actually put out a question saying that, could it be that Harris and Blitzer want to buy his shares so they could end up selling the football club altogether, such as with Texas shares, as well as their shares? Could that be the case if they're wanting out, which could be a possibility as well? So it is looking like something is going to be changing in terms of the shareholders. We don't know exactly who's going to be buying Texas shares. There have been report, I believe it was last week, that 14 groups were interested in buying into John Texas shares, and Textor will sell it to whoever he wants. But then again, the complication comes from, would these people want to work with how we currently operate right now? Because that has been a problem with Textor. That's been a problem in the past. So I'm pretty sure there will be some Middle Eastern interests. There must be. There'll be American groups' interests as well. So I mean, with a Premier League club, I think, as I've always said all along, there will be interest from people that just have money to spend to waste, because that's what the Premier League has turned into. It's just turned into a playground where you can just waste money. So yeah. Tim saying might be South African investor who came in a couple of years ago, plus Jeremy Oskin and Stephen Browie are still around. They can't afford Texas shares. I know the last two can't, and I don't know about the South African investor. They won't be able to afford his shares unless he got distributed. But still, then again, I don't think they've got the money to afford his shares, especially if he wants a profit as well. Martin saying, why doesn't Textor buy out Harrison Blitzer? Then surely that's the solution. Very good comment. Very good comment. Maybe Harrison Blitzer don't want to sell their shares to Textor, but then again, I guess that will rule out. That's the thing. It's just a headache right now with so many different reports. That'll rule out maybe in terms of whether they want out or not. So yeah, Parish to own the whole club. I don't think so. There's no reason for him to own the whole football club. The current structure favors him. So yeah, and I don't think he's got the money to buy the whole football club. If someone was to buy it internally, it will be Harris and Blitzer. I think those two are the only ones that should have the funds for it. Let's see if there's anything else. Textor is in a pickle. There are loads of other investors in Palace, so it'd be interesting to see who bids. Yeah, but he wants a profit, and I just don't know, Tim, in terms of who really has the money to buy out Texas shares. I don't know, apart from Harrison Blitzer. I think those are the only two who have the funds, and if they're not willing to match what Textor wants in terms of a profit on the shares, God knows how much that is, then yeah, it can move on. Apparently, Textor, based on reports, was interested in other clubs such as Watford as well. So he's very keen on owning a football club in the UK, and him going back for Everton, we'll see what happens. But it is it's getting a bit interesting now with the Textor situation. At least what's saying rich man can buy shares, but Parish will not give up the reins. I think that's where things get a bit complicated, as well as new potential investors. Tim saying this might be why Palace has a relationship with Rain Group, which has a history of orchestrating sales. Could be. I think is Textor not using that group to sell his shares in the first place. So yeah. And also France have lost the final, so Mateta will not be coming home with a gold medal. Commiserations to him and Elise, of course. Because I know a lot of people talk about, Michael Elise, look at him since he joined Bayern Munich. No, that's a Michael Elise of Crystal Palace. And they both had a great tournament, so commiserations to them as well. So yeah, Texas is using Rain. Yeah, so yeah, let's see. Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of subjects. But Textor is back in for Everton, according to reports. And let's see. Now, some of you will be happy. Some of you will be upset with the next one. But there's an update on Jeffrey Schlupp. According to the Daily Mail, Celtic have inquired about versatile midfielder Schlupp. For me, this makes a lot of sense, especially when you link it with the Zaha reports. I think Schlupp has been a great servant to the football club, but just like IU reported these on the market, it makes sense to potentially move on from Schlupp. I think for Schlupp going over to Scotland, Celtic, Brendan Rodgers, I think that would be a good move for him after Palace, to compete for something, especially the title and potentially European football as well. So yeah, I think this would be a good move, and it makes sense. I mean, if that's what I'm saying, let's ask this question: if Schlupp was to leave and Zaha was to come in ahead of Schlupp, would a lot of you still be upset? Maybe some of you maybe not as keen because of the finance involved. Maybe some of you may change your mind, but I'd be happy. I think that's not a step backwards to me. I think that's a step forward. So yeah. So potentially Jeffrey Schlupp, for the first time, we've seen him linked with an actual football club, and that is Celtic, which from the outside looking in, of course, I don't know the finances and the figures, but that seems just seems like a realistic move for Schlupp at this point of his career. Mitch saying the same. Spiritual laughing at Celtic. Boom saying it would be a good move for him. Yeah, I think it would be a good move for him. I'm saying regardless of Zaha, I'd be happy with Schlupp leaving. Lord, fair enough, fair enough. Let's move on to the final bit of story, and that is from Bobby Manzi, and he's saying that Crystal Palace are expected to sign at least 3 more players this transfer window, which has always been the case, kind of. Bobby said this a few times. But let's see who those 3 are. I think we still need the left wing back. Another forward. I wonder if that's Zaha. I wonder if we sign another forward on top of Zaha if he was to join us. But 3 players is solid. I think we need at least 2, 3. Would be, an ideal number. I don't think a lot of people will be upset over that as well. Bob was saying so many late transfers. Yeah, potential late transfers as well. But I think Palace would want to get these deals done and dusted before the window is shut. And by the way, people, if you are just joining us right now, if you do enjoy the stream, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Get involved, but in the giveaway for this Sunday's game, all you have to do is follow the instructions on the pinned tweet. If you haven't already done so, make sure to follow us on X, as we'll be doing hopefully more giveaways. Thanks to our partners at Avi, who are also sponsoring Palace for the upcoming season as well. But yeah, fingers crossed I can announce more in the future if things go well. But yeah, hopefully we'll be giving more back to you guys as well for thank you. So yeah, fingers crossed everything goes according to plan. Blue saying 3 more players. Wilf, Wan-Bissaka, Bostok, I swear at it. Fair enough, you lot crack me up. We need a left and right back up wing back. Listen to Bubbles, like the video bums. When does the window shut? At the end of this month. On a serious note, if a club is offering money for Schlupp at this point, we should take it. He's not even third choice off the bench, so it makes sense. To be fair, Schlupp and Ayew have had very good pre-seasons. It's funny because these are the players that we've been talking about. Oh, we want player A to leave, player B to leave, and all of that. But I mean, they've been scoring goals. I know it's pre-season, but they've been well in pre-season. Sam Johnston wants out, so we're gonna need a second keeper. Yeah, it could be that as well, because I don't really see Johnston staying, and that's been my stance all along from this window. Romano says Zaha deal is off. Yeah, I don't think he said that, but I'll have a double check as well. Zaha deal off. Let's see. Are people actually saying? Are people trolling? Oh, it is off. Apparently, that is interesting. So as I was about to wrap up, Zaha deal is off for now. This was meant to be a whole different, as you can see from the title, from Zaha potentially joining to Zaha deals off, but it is currently off. So let's see if we can find out more about that. Oh, that is weird. What's your thoughts quickly, by the way, before we wrap up? Today's been a weird day. I'm roller coaster of emotions. France were gonna win gold medal. Wilf was gonna come back to the football club, and now apparently the deal is off. Boom said now I'm oddly disappointed. What on earth is going on? I was literally about to jump off as well. That is weird, people. That is weird. Let's see if we can find out more about why that deal is off. But Fabrizio Romano has tweeted the following. I can hopefully bring it up on the screen, that the Zaha deal is currently off. I wonder if that's to do with finances, because that was going to be a big point, of course. But yeah, well, we lasted an hour. Exactly. I was starting to get excited. I love Wilf's animal. Very weird day, says Tim. I want the club to do what works best for Glasgow. I trust him. Bobby tweeting Mateta down injured. What on earth is going on? And I mean, from the moment we started the stream, feels like everything just going off. To be fair, it's not the end of the world. We need young players. Turks are playing hard to get. Redo the video. We'll start another stream, people, with another title to make it related. Breaking with Bizarre deal off. Nah, but I mean, I'm not gonna be doing that, because I do, as much as I love talking about Palace. We can just talk about it here. What do you think about that then? I mean, what has actually happened? What on earth has happened with the Zaha deal to be off. James saying great fan base, plenty of upside. Mikey saying stupid Zaha. Let's see. I'm pretty sure we'll find out more. I think it probably has to do with wages. If the wages are reported the truth, maybe Palace are not willing to pay that. As I said, like if he was to come back to the football club, it'll be with everything fitting into what Palace want. So if it's wages, if it's whatever it is, if that puts us off, then that puts us off. Another club coming for him, maybe. I don't know. So many ifs and buts at the moment. We really don't know what sort of team is going to kick off the season. Yeah. All of you Hearts wanted it too much. It's a bit awkward. This is a bit awkward now. Everyone just staring like awkwardly, like, okay, we've just got a literal title with Zaha reaching an agreement with Palace. We've gone from 45 minutes from that to Fabrizio now tweeting that the Zaha deal was off. Yeah, it is a bit awkward. It is a bit awkward. He said currently, and I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that as well, Jack. I'm looking at the currently. I'm looking at the currently right now, and I'm thinking, could it be that there's a disagreement right now with his wages and how much maybe Galatasaray won, or Palace not willing to pay so much? Maybe there could be an agreement found, but he did say currently, which could be right now it is off, but I wouldn't rule it out completely. Let's see for the reason. But yeah, unfortunately, saying almost. I'm low-key sad now. This is why Pat doesn't talk about rumors. D, it's all your fault. I was trying to be positive. I was trying to be positive, but I mean that's why we're here to cover everything, right? We're here to cover everything. So yeah. If this deal is off, could the least deal be off too? Is there still hope? CP Jordan, I don't know who's gonna tell you, but at least it's already gone, my friend. He's already gone. There's no hope there about Elise deal being off. But he's already there. I don't know if you've seen the photos, but he's gone. He's gone. This is Palace heritage. Yeah, this is a typical day of Sport and Palace, right? To replace Zaha with Zaha, even though I don't agree with that, but it's just a funny comment to say. And then that deal being off as well. But here we are. Zaha must have read the chat and decided against it. It's all the chat's fault. In terms of why that deal was off. Mateta silver medal. I guess that's a positive as well. And it's probably just a pause. Hopefully it is just that. But Fabrizio has just tweeted. But I know what people are going to say now. People are going to come in the section and see the title and not explain what's exactly happened. But yeah. Nick, I'm just about to end the stream.
Mike to come on.
Huh?
Oh well, I shall go then. Bye.
No, I'm literally. Huh? I'm literally been on here 50 minutes. I'm about to end it, but you could give your quick thoughts on Wilf if you want.
It depends who else comes in. I didn't watch him at Galatasaray much, to be honest, so I don't know what form he was in. I saw he scored the odd goal, 31. Has he still got it? Who knows? I'd like to see it. I just remember Andy Johnson coming back from Fulham, although his career was well over then, and being well excited about Edgar Davids coming and it being a big flop. So that's my only worry, is it doesn't work out and we kind of think of him like we did Roy and letting us down in the end.
I wouldn't compare. I don't know. I feel a bit uncomfortable comparing Wilf to Roy. But yeah, I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean in terms of
in the not being as good as perhaps we thought he could.
I mean, with Roy, you could have that debate. I mean, even before he joined, even when he left us. So I think, I don't know. I get what you mean. But yeah, Nick, we are gonna wrap up now because I do have to go out. But I mean, I guess we'll probably talk about it more if more news comes out. It's a bit of a shock. I was about to end the stream, man. People are saying, "Oh, Wilf still off." So I was thinking, all right, people are trolling as I'm about to end. Maybe they don't want me to end, and I look at the tweet. Yeah, Fabrizio Romano has said it's off. And funny enough, if you look at the title, we went from Zaha reaching an agreement with Palace to Zaha deal being off, all in the space of 50 minutes. But that's the transfer window for you, eh? That's it. But yeah, look, you might as well stay here, Nick. We'll quickly talk off here. If you have enjoyed the stream, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you to every single one of you that's tuned in live. Thank you to all the super chats as well, for Bubbles, for James as well. Really appreciate you all. Sorry I couldn't go through all the questions. As you can tell, it's been a very weird show with a lot happening. So hopefully we'll catch up with you. And if there's any other updates, we'll be back here. But for now, thankfully, at least we've reported it. Zaha deal off. Let's see what happens in the future. But until next time, up the Palace.